Hello, I'm Irwin Stelzer, Director of Economic Policy Studies at the Hudson Institute, and I thought I might share with you a few ideas about how you should appraise or might appraise the President's budget proposal today. First, keep in mind that it's only a proposal. It has to be approved by Congress, and that creates a very serious problem because this is an election year, and congressmen on both sides of the aisle will be very much more attracted by new spending proposals than they will by cuts in spending. Second, although it's buried deep in the numbers, you should know that the receipts that the government is counting on depend on rather rapid economic growth of over 3% in the next year or so, and then over 4% after 3 years out. It's not at all clear that that goal can be reached, especially since the budget also includes about $700 billion of tax increases, which certainly won't stimulate economic growth. Those will consist of about $90 billion tax on the banks, they call it a fee, and about $700 billion when the Bush tax cuts expire. Those tax increases will fall very heavily on the entrepreneurial class, which should do not very much to stimulate economic growth. Next, you should keep in mind that the President's freeze, which is what the White House is talking about, applies to only 17% of the budget and then doesn't cut in until next year, after we've had an 86% increase in the Obama administration's spending on so-called discretionary items. Besides, most of those cuts won't happen because Congress won't approve them. What's the bottom line then of all of this? It's rather simple. We're going to have rising deficits for a very long time until we decide to come to grips with the fact that the government can't continue to spend all of the money it wants to spend. The administration has a reasonable argument that it shouldn't cut back very fast and very hard until this rather good economic recovery is less fragile. But it has no medium or long-term plan to reduce the deficit. Problem? That will mean that we will depend more and more on the Chinese to cover our debts, that we will be leaving bigger and bigger debts to our children and grandchildren, and that sooner or later inflation will have to pop up to ameliorate the burden of these deficits. All of that's rather unfortunate, and I think something that you should keep in mind and worry about as the election comes closer. Thank you very much for your attention.